Hello, everyone. Welcome to your podcast. Let's talk with Jude Eliassaint. Today, we're going to continue with the series Who is Your Favorite Educational Philosopher? And today, we're going to introduce you to Albert Bandura. Let's get into the presentation. It was during the height of behaviorism of John Watson and B.F. Skinner that Bandura started to develop his famous social learning theory, which will become socio-cognitive theory, considered as a rebuttal of behaviorism, whose scary application were not receiving favorable feedback from the public. But who is Albert Bandura? A child of immigrants from Eastern Europe, from Polish and Ukrainian parents, Canadian American born during the Progressive Era, humble beginnings, six siblings, experience of bottom of mobility. He achieved a lot. He became president of the APA, author, and is a professor at Stanford for the longest. He's one of the most cited psychologists of all time. Now let's get into his philosophy of education. Bandura behaviorism was the dominant theory in the first half of the 20th century, and Bandura wanted to prove behaviorist assumptions wrong. So he created a movement called social learning theory, whose developments end up becoming social cognitive theory. Let's talk about the main point of social cognitive theory. First, a triadical reciprocal determinism, observational learning, self regulation, self efficacy, and moral disengagement. Let's start with triadic reciprocal determinism. Bandura postulated that instead, at the difference of the behaviorists that believe that behavior is just a matter of stimulus and response, is Bandura said that it is instead of a matter of interaction between human cognition, their behavior, feedback from their behavior, and the environment. All three of those aspect of factors are interacting to create actually behavior. Next, observational learning. Bandura said something very revolutionary. Instead of people learning from stimulus and response, he said that most learning occurs by people watching other people doing things. And Bobodal experiment was the definite um, confirmation of this theory. Next, self-regulation. Bandura says that in learning process, human is agentic, not just receiving stimulus or being passive, but they control what they learn and how they learn it. And next is self-efficacy. The yes we can is a perfect example of someone with self-efficacy. When Bandura said when people know that they or believe they can do something, they most likely will try to attempt to do it. And finally, moral disengagement. Another pillar of Bandura's social learning theory, cognitive theory, is that it said that people act like they have a mute button in their conscience. It's like they just stop thinking the right way, which allows them to do cynical thing, even if they have a good reputation. Now, let's talk a little bit about how Bandura was theory was applied. The social cognitive theory find application in a lot of fields, like education, specific education. Like uh, we know that learning is happening when the student find model, like the picture is saying it, and also in the parenting and in leadership, business, and also in treating phobia. Talking about how Bandura saw diversity, his perspective on diversity. Let me read. Uh, this organization, Population Media Center, was one of the most central piece of Bandura action. I would say theory into action. This media was creating content or different of various. broadcasting to help communities get themselves together and becoming more self-regulated, more self-sufficient. Now, on a point, let's do a quick a critical analysis of Bandura. The way I see it, I set it up is on three levels. First of all, Bandura's social cognitive theory was a rebuttal of the theory of the behaviorist viewpoint that actually thought that human being could be controlled and shaped. Yes, at a certain point, but Bandura was putting the emphasis on the fact that human beings control themselves. They are in control instead of the environment being in control. They are in control themselves. Another point, a critical point about Bandura social cognitive theory is the fact that many researchers find in social cognitive theory of perfect or adequate framework to set their theoretical framework um, when they are doing studies about the African community struggles. The other point that I wanted to make is about seeing the social cognitive theory in the perspective, the biblical perspective. It is interesting to see how the social cognitive theory of Bandura are many parallel, I would say, principle, biblical principle. Like, for example, um, learning observational learning. Eh, to the of the Bible, you see how it is recommended to learn from others. Like the Apostle Paul say, uh, "Do as I do, because I'm doing as Christ is doing." Even Christ was said to his disciples, do as I when I he washed his the feet of his disciples. Do as I do for one another. Observational learning. Another point is self-efficacy. You see how self-efficacy is close to the work by faith that a Christian is supposed to uh, to um, to emulate. And the other point I wanted to make about biblical perspective and social cognitive theory is the uh, the emphasis on moral engagement or moral disengagement. Throughout the Bible, or mostly the New Testament, you see that Jesus point out the fact that the Pharisees was a group of people who seems to were they were acting with moral disengagement toward their peers, toward the society and God in general. So, to the time is running fast. What I can say to conclude is this: the presentation is that yes, Bandura social learning cognitive theory presents a different framework from the behaviorist point of view. That instead of I would say dehumanize the individuals, but empower them instead. Secondly, the social cognitive theory offers a better framework for researchers trying to study African American communities struggles. And third, as a Christian educators or a Christian educator or as a Christian educator or leader, it seems that this is the I would say the philosophy the closest to Bible belief for the emphasis on self-efficacy and self-efficacy, which is close to faith, um, self-regulation, which is important for human beings to understand that they're responsible for their active and salvation, and also moral disengagement, which is close to the global view that a Christian is supposed to have, because of their responsibility to go all over the world and preach the gospel and make sure that the God is being worshipped by everyone. That's it for today. I'm pretty sure that I went far over the time that I was allowed. So thank you for watching. Thank you to Dr. Lester for guidance. Gratitude to the website from which I borrowed the pictures for the presentation. And the full text of this presentation is available at Eliassaint at liberty.edu. And I'll see you next time for another presentation and another educational philosopher. Ciao, bye bye.